Yeah.
The people who are sex workers unofficially and they don't really like realize it, like they're in the marriages where their husband doesn't care if they want to have sex. They have like, you know, like, oh, I put a roof over your head. Those like terribly toxic situations.
Yeah.
Sex workers really trigger them. I've noticed. I've started to see a lot of girls who I'm like, you do all this work for this person and you just like get a free place to stay. You fuck them and you do all of
raise their kids.
Like, you know, like you do that. And like, that's the only thing you get out of the situation. You never like get any money, like you know, and you're not allowed to fuck anybody else. And like, I'm like, that's at least sex workers get to fuck other people. At least they get $2,000 an hour. My friends like to fuck. Like that is so much money.
Yeah.
Tell me one other job where a woman can get paid so much money.
This is why like people are so triggered by non-monogamy as well, because it's literally, and you know,
it's a spit in the face of like traditional.
Exactly. Like we can talk all day about how like marriage is such a product of like capitalism and the patriarchy. And it's just like a transfer of ownership of not only property, but people. And that is why people get so triggered, because we're like towing the line of both, especially Posh and I, because we're doing the like marriage thing. Yeah. Like we have a license for the government to say that we could do a fucking religious sacrament, because that's what it is. And
but
then
also, like, you pay less in taxes. There's literally
there's benefits.
Incentives who get married too. It's like, so why wouldn't you take advantage of that? Like,
wait, so I know, I feel like we need a clearing breath after that. Let's take a deep breath.
I mean, it's nice though to like be able to like pinpoint what needs to change. That's something that gives me a lot of courage. You know, it's encouraging to see people putting themselves on the line and risking things to change things, you know, like that's why I'm glad I have friends that are like that, you know, that are willing, like right now, like this is like, amazing. Like,
well, and you've done that so much. Like you just, can we talk about the documentary a little bit?
It's coming out tomorrow.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Whoa. So by the time this episode comes out, you guys definitely need to go check out.
It's a BBC News documentary called it's about Ron Jeremy, the fall of a porn icon. It's about how I was involved in like creating this YouTube video that brought all of his allegations to light and put them in just like a really easy to see format. And so then like the prosecutors heard about it. Well, first a journalist heard about it, and then he started getting banned from expos. And then there was like a special unit created to like do like Hollywood crimes or something like that. So it was like Harvey Weinstein they did, and then they did Ron Jeremy, and then like this other director who was accused of a lot of sexual assault, but he was arrested in June 2020 and he's still in jail. He's been indicted, and then they're going to like go to trial eventually, but it's like COVID, so it's taking forever.
Yeah. So just to like give the listeners a little bit more context, if you don't know, Ron Jeremy was accused of like raping girls on set.
Everywhere. Like,
everywhere.
Just a lot. He has, I think it's over 30 charges of sexual assault and rape, but one of the things he would do is he would go to expos. He would get hired to do like events everywhere, you know, like this like this one porn guy who like broke into the mainstream, and he would just like put his hands up girls' skirts, grab their tits, start sucking on them, like just doing that like in broad daylight in the middle of these events. And everyone would kind of be like, oh, well, isn't that what they do in porn? You know, like, oh, that's like porn. And like people like friends around the girls would be like, nah, I mean, what did you think? You guys going up to saying hi to Ron Jeremy, like stuff like that.
It's like, oh, I would think that there would be actual respect and consent, like if you want to touch me. Yeah.
So, you know, like that started happening a lot. That was kind of normalized at these adult entertainment expos. And then us webcam girls who work from home and, you know, like nobody ever really touches us, or if they do, it's our fucking boyfriends. We started going to these expos too. And all of these people would touch us and we'd be like, get the fuck off of us. What do you mean? Like, this is not cool.
Yeah.
So one of my friends, she tweeted something like that. She's like, I'm sick and tired of him being treated like a king. He fingered me without my consent the first time I ever met him. And all of the responses were just like, there were so many people being like, yeah, he did this to me. He did this to me. Then I started talking around in the industry, like being like, have you heard about Ron Jeremy? And they were like, oh yeah, that's what Ron does. Like this one company that had just hired him to like host their award show. I was like, so you knew, and then you still hired him to host the award show. Like and I'm trying to fight for like the world to respect us or treat us with respect, you know? And they're like lifting this guy up who's like known to sexually assault. Like, so what is that going to do for our reputation out in the world? Like you're sending this guy out, you're encouraging him, you know? And so I eventually was like, just like trying to get him banned from the expos. This was the number one thing I wanted was like take away his access to victims. And so I made this like YouTube video. I just went on the internet and I found so much stuff on the internet that when I was making the YouTube video, I was like, okay, what can I put into this video that's not going to make it 45 minutes long?
Yeah.
I need to make it like 10 minutes. Like that's how long it needs to be. And so I was like putting it in. And so then it got picked up by Rolling Stone. Then he started, apparently one of the expo owners said that they showed him this YouTube video and he was like, oh, there's nothing wrong. Like he was like, yeah, that's just what I do. I'm a groper. That's like a quote from him in one of his interviews. It's like, I'm a groper.
Well, just like our former president. Oh. I mean, like we live in a society that's like totally acceptable. It's just,
yeah, I'm pretty sure he was a Trump supporter, or at least the manager of his Twitter account. Apparently he like got into this like kind of Twitter fight with me and was like saying a lot of Trump quotes. And then like, a couple years later, I found out that was like, he had a manager. I think he had a manager who was running his Twitter account that kind of poured a little fuel on the fire for him unintentionally, which is like looking back, like, yeah. If you'd have just shut up, I wonder how all this would have progressed. You know? Yeah. But yeah, BBC made a documentary about it that's coming out and it's really good.
Yeah. And you're in it.
Yeah. It's coming out tomorrow, December 11th.
Thank you for the work that you do, because you are in so many different pools of the playing field when it comes to being an activist and also like being a voice and using your platform for good and like just wanting to help women also, not just like be a crusader against like what is going wrong. But I really want to talk about today the work that you're doing for sex workers to help them heal from trauma, to heal from like toxic relationships. And you are a part of a retreat that's coming up.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the retreat?
Totally. Pineapple Support is doing a little day retreat after the end of there's this expo that's going to be in Los Angeles. And so Pineapple Support subsidizes therapy for sex workers. Mm-hmm. You basically say how much you can afford to pay and they'll pay the rest of it. Mm-hmm. And so whoever's working with that organization is clearly like trying to put in the work. And we're going to do like a day of just teaching them things that they can take away from the retreat, you know, to like integrate into their everyday life and like things to help. And I think that potentially like some sort of weekly Zoom meeting or something like that, or monthly Zoom meeting is like really, really essential, because something that's been key for my healing journey has been like consistent community.
Yes.
And I've been really grateful to have that. And so I would like to help provide that to them.
Yes.
Because and also every single sex worker has their own little like group of people who listen to them and respect them online. And it's just like, my goal is always to come in contact with people and make them their own little gurus.
Yes.
You know, where like, you know, I feel like 2 years ago, I would not have considered myself someone that like people could come to for advice and things like that. And when I have like Johnny texting me that he wants advice from me, I'm like, what the fuck? You're like one of the people I like respect the most in this world. And so like to have that mutually beneficial relationship and things like that, where I'm like, I would not have been someone that I don't think 2 years ago someone would have come to me and like said something like that to me. So it's like everybody else has the ability to become that person. And like, that's how we just like, this little like sprinkling. I'm like imagining like a electricity thing, just like spreading out all over the world, because I don't know. Someone said this quote the other day at like the Curiosity Bears party. It was, you're not going to be able to solve everything, but you're going to be able to do your part or something like that. But you still need to do your part. And it gave me a lot of relief, because I was like, I'm not actually going to be able to solve everything. Like I need to remind myself of that. Like,
yeah.
How do I solve homelessness? Like,
there are a lot of people that are going to be required to solve the big things like that. However, like every single person needs to show up and do their part so that the whole can really happen.
Exactly. And I think a lot of like things to do with homelessness are these things that we're trying to teach people like early on in their life, like preventing trauma in general is like, I think the biggest, should be one of our biggest goals. Like imagine like the effort we have against like smoking. Mm-hmm. But we did that for like childhood trauma or like healing people or like emotional maturity, like government campaigns like that, where like, dude, everywhere I go, there's some like stupid corny ass ad for like not smoking, that I'm just like, people smoke and they do these things because they don't know how to handle their emotions.
Right.
Like it's
because they can't handle stress.
And then they end up, that's how they traumatize people. So like these are things, and like trauma leads to, you know, heart, like high blood pressure, all these problems. So it's like, it's a health crisis. And like, we don't, so like, yes, one of the things I'm really passionate about is like teaching people about this and like that they can heal themselves. Like everybody can become their own self-healer. And that is going to resonate with the people around you too, especially if you don't like put up with their behavior.